Hey guys, so as we are getting very close to the final release for Gaia 2, I figured, hey, let's look at some of the cool things that we've added and some of my favorite new features that I like to work with. So I want to start a new project, and if you're not familiar with Gaia, it's a node-based procedural terrain design tool, but with a very heavy focus on being artist-friendly. It's been used in a bunch of games and films and things you'll know, like the Star Wars franchise, Top Gun, Alan Wake, and so on. So now this is a primitive. So this is a simple mountain primitive, and if you used Gaia 1, you'll notice it's a bit different than what it used to be. And this is because it has erosion built in. So if you just want a quick mountain, this is a great way to get it. Now, if you want something different, like let's say one of those cool alpine mountains with those sharp flowing curves, then you just switch the style to alpine and you get a mountain like that. And you get the erosion and everything in it for free, so there's no extra rendering time or processing time. You can change the bulk, make it however you like, and you can even have it be stratified. This is one of my personal favorites because this is how certain mountains tend to be high up. Let me try a few different seeds just to show you, like, so you get that tilted strata. It's like, this is what happens in real life with a mountain undergoing uplift. So yeah, like this. I'm going to go back to the eroded style, the normal one. And I'm going to make it a bit taller. So this is cool, but the erosion is lightweight. I need more. So I'm just going to drag out line and there's erosion too. So Gaia likes to learn. No AI, nothing creepy like that. No, it's just a simple a built-in thing. So it keeps track of what kind of nodes you use, and then it suggests what it thinks you might want to use. Or you can just type whatever you need. So I've added our new erosion too. And so this is now running both on the CPU and GPU. Can give you like pretty fast performance. But anyways, the main thing here is that this is by far the most advanced erosion that's been seen in CG. And so let me show you, I'm gonna increase coarse sediments so we get lots of deposition going. And I'm gonna increase the duration time frame. You can see it's responding pretty much in real time, no matter how high I go on the duration. So this is looking cool. I like this mountain. I think I would like a little less detail, because I don't want all those sharp bits there. There, that's looking cool. And then now I want to add some rocky outcrops to this. So I'm going to drag this out. I'm going to type in outcrops. And that's really cool, but way too much. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to reduce the size a little bit. And I'm going to reduce the height a little bit. But I will increase the density so I get more of these. And then down here in the modifiers panel, which is the successor to the post-process stack from Gaia 1, I'm going to add mask by height. And so this lets me control where I want this effect to show up. So if I move it down here, it can be like just restricted to this area. I'm going to increase the fall off a little bit and the distortion because I don't want it to be too even. And let me reduce this even more since we have a nice fall off. It's like this. And then I'm going to add another erosion on top of this. So it kind of like starts melding everything together. More coarse sediments and more duration. So now I have like this nice mountain coming out of this rocky area. A couple of other cool new things that we've added. So, previously it would be like a fair bit of work to get like textures right for this. But now, like, I'm not even going to add a texture node. I'm just going to add a satmap straight. And let's pick something. Okay, there. Random, whatever. And then I'll just add a color erosion node. And color erosion works just like erosion. It uses the same kind of physics, but it flows the colors like they were minerals. So you can already see this is becoming this. I'm going to mess a little bit with the settings to increase certain aspects of it, and you can see it in action. So this gives you color maps that are way more believable than ever before, because this is what happens in real life with sedimentary flows. And so as rain falls, different kinds of materials with different colors, whatever, they get dragged along with it downslope. And then this is how we get colored slopes and flow systems. So that looks pretty cool. And I can just go back and switch it to anything else. You can see it being maintained. It's pretty fast. So I think I like the first one better. This one, that's cool. However, I wish I had like a little different coloration down at the bottom. And so previously, this is what I've done. I've gone, okay, let's make another set map. And let's find something for that. Oh, that looks cool. Now I'm going to make a height node. And I'm going to create, I'm going to create a combine node and get this, and then put this in the mask. And okay, that kind of works. Now I have to go change this so that I can set the mask. God, that's a lot of work. And plus I have to go back and forth to see what I'm doing. So let's not do any of that. Delete this. I'm going to have this. I'm going to make one more. That's cool. I'm going to select all three. I'm going to hit Control F8 and voila, the new mixer node. So, well, you can also drag into it, but I want it to be fancy and be able to say voila. So I press Control F8. So here's what's happening. The first sat map is now the base. It's the ground layer. The second one and the third one, they became additional layers on top. So all I have to do is change the range. Just do that. So you can now see this one is here, and then the top one's here. And I can add a little bit of fall off. And again, this is a bit too uniform for my taste, so I'm just going to expand this and add a bit of warping. I'm going to increase the size. I'll do the same up here. It's warped and a very different size. So there, it makes it very uneven. I think I want the darker color down here. I don't want this turning into like snow. So I'm just going to move this down here, and I'm going to change the settings. So there we go. Oh, I like this. We have the light rock up here, then dark, and then this multi-strata coloration up here. So with this ready, all I have to do is go create a new node. So here's a fun and fast way of creating this. Select the node I want, hit tab, and type in the shortcode, which is CX for this color erosion node. And you have it. Like, in fact, you can do it with anything. Everything has a shortcode down here. And so if you remember it, and you can just make whatever you want. So let me show you. So I can just right click and go M, E2, D2, snow. And that's just me typing something like just the beginning, and then once it shows up in the list, I can hit comma and it automatically selects. It's pretty fast. Once you know the shortcodes, it's so fast to create like complex graphs. So, okay, I have this, I hit enter. It just created this entire graph for me, so it saves a lot of time. Anyways, we're forgetting our main thing. Let me go back to our color erosion. And so with this, I'm going to increase the sediment density just a little bit, so from afar we can see these cool rivers. Increase the transport distance a little bit, and maybe also the color hold a little bit so the rivers can maintain their color for much longer. This is cool. I think I still would like to adjust the edges of all this. So all I have to do is I can just lock my preview to color erosion, just press F. Then I can go back to mixer and then I can change this and be able to see what's happening. So yeah, that's more like this. Oops, no, not that much. This, bring this down further. There you go, and then we have our full color system. So that is one of the cool new ways you can actually get a terrain going quickly, and then you can just export all of it and use it wherever you like. We also have lots of cool new shapes. So let me show you one of those. I'm going to go here and create a mountainside. So here again, you can see I'm just using a shortcode. So I'm going to go MS for mountainside. Gave me this. Pretty basic, pretty eroded, and whatever. Cool. I'm going to add a stratify node to it. So this is not like the stratify node from Gaea 1. This is way more advanced, way more powerful. And so it adds multifaceted, whether it's sandstone-like or limestone-like layering. And you can change the spacing. And you can see it retains its nice balance of uniformity versus non-uniformity. We can also tilt the strata as much as we want. We can change the direction a little bit. Oh, that's cool. I like that. And so then I'm going to get the layers map and just hook it up to a sat map. And let's get good sat map going somewhere. I'm going to find something a bit noisy. Oh, that's cool. So it's actually mapping it to the different layers. And yeah, that's cool. But anyways, I think I want to develop this more. First of all, I'm going to go to a high resolution so we can see more details. There we go. And then let me add a little bit of erosion on this. That's the kind of downcutting I don't want here, so I'm going to reduce that. Oh, that's cool. I'm going to increase bed load and coarse sediment so I get more flow down here. And then on top of this, I will add another stratify. But this time, I'm going to go and mask it by height and restrict it to a certain part. So something maybe a bit higher up. So like this. And again, I can come back and move this whenever I want. I think, yeah, a bit more fall off will work. And I'm going to adjust the shape. And this time, because it's a different direction, it's going against, well, not exactly against, but it's a bit, offset to the previous one. So that's cool. Change the spacing to make it more canyony. And let's see if I can change the direction of this a little bit as well. Because when you go perpendicular, you also get some pretty cool shapes. So, okay, something like that. That's cool. Now I'm going to add one more passive erosion. But this time I'm going to just reduce downcutting completely. And I am going to go mask this by height again. And have it be more for the bottom. And because we already eroded it before, then we added this on top. You can see it just merges seamlessly. We don't have to worry about this. So with all these simulations, we made sure that they tend to create shapes that are as coherent and blend friendly as possible. So, okay, we have this going on. This is pretty cool. I think I'm going to add one more layer to this, which is sandstone. It's one of my favorite nodes. It's very delicate when you think about it. It creates, look at that. It created all that fine stratification and layering here. I think I want to move the sunlight just a little bit so we can see. Okay, that's a bit flat lighting, but at least you can see what kind of shapes it's creating. And if I go back, you can see we had these. And that's what we tend to get a lot with CG terrains. It's like everything can become quite blobby if you're not careful. And with erosion and other things, as it's creating these, it does what it's supposed to do, which is smooth things out, which is what erosion does. But then you want some rocky structure, and so nodes like sandstone can help you do that. So here you can see it's creating these sharp crevices and these adjacent cracks. And just like stratification, you can also change the spacing and the shaping, or that's the convexity. It's just a little bit there, smoother strata. You know, you want it to be where if you're up here and you fall, you only get a few stitches, not a lot of stitches. Anyways, so, okay, this is looking cool. I think what I want to do is I want to make this way more complex. So I'm going to change the number of passes. So this will now undergo a slightly longer simulation, but then it's also going to create way more detail. So like this. This is very, very cool. So we're going from here to here. It's using everything that's there. It helps build the foundation, but now we have this. So let me do two things. First, I'm going to add another mask, and let's restrict this to the top with a very distorted fall off. I want to have something smoother down here. You'll see in just a moment, but again, there's something like this. So it's a bit closer to this slope. And the reason is I want to add one final touch on this, which is erosion 2. There you go. That's cool. But let's do a couple of things. First, I'm going to increase the coarse sediments. And I'm also increasing the bed load a little bit. And then taking away down cutting. Let's just go completely. So then we're left with this. And you go like, hey, you just ruined something completely fine. No, what we're going to do is we're going to go and turn on min mode. And now we get the best of both worlds. We get this exposed strata, and we get the smooth curves, or sorry, the smooth slopes with sediments coming down. And then if I increase the duration, these parts flatten out. I can get a little bit of both. However, I did love the shapes up here. I'm going to lose them. So let's go add mask by height again. Okay, just because I'm using that, that's not like the only modifier. There are like a bunch of other things here, and so feel free to use them, play with them. They're like pretty helpful. They function like basically micro nodes. They are nodes that are inside your node, so you don't have to create like lots of little adjustments or something, and it doesn't clutter up your graph. And then you can go in and change anything quickly. And because they're a modifier, they will work very quickly instead of normal masking, where often if you change the mask or the shape of the mask, then the entire node has to reprocess. Now here, it just does it very quickly on its own. Anyways, okay, I'm going to have like less fall off on this one because I want a sharp break. And so let's go, trying to go this much. Yeah. So then we're getting some stuff down here. I might increase the duration. Or maybe I'll decrease the duration because I do want some of that get more bed load. Maybe just higher erosion scale. Okay, we get some, which means I should go and increase the height a little bit. There we go. I can always do a second pass. Why not? This time I'll go very high with the bed load and less sharpness, less detail, and again min mode, mask by height, bring it down just a little bit to the here. Anyways, okay, so this is now looking cool. Let's see. I think this deserves a bit of color. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, first I'm going to create a texture-based node. So that's going to be like a foundation. Give it like a little bit of flow. And then I'm also going to get, I'm going to drag this out to the out for layers in the sandstone. So we get both. Yeah, a little bit of both, because I do like the layering there. And that's going to help us differentiate certain parts of the terrain. And then let's create a sat map. I think something rocky, deserty would be good. Hey, there's that map again. This served us well the first time. I'll stick to it. I do like how it's dark at the top, a little bright in the middle, and then goes dark again. And that's partly because of the layers that we're getting, because they go from top to bottom. Let me actually show you. Wait, oops. If I create a FX node, there, that's what it does. It's actually, it contains all these layers. And if you want to shuffle them a bit, you can actually add a filter such as the fold. So it starts, repeating the textures a little bit, and then you can connect it here. And that gives us this. But I'm not sure if that's too much or not. That's okay. Let's keep it for now. That looks nice. So that's done. But let's add color erosion to this. So what we're gonna do is, instead of the fine flows that we had with the mountain before, this time we're gonna focus on something a bit more rough. So I'm gonna increase the flow volume, and I'm gonna increase the color hold, so color can seep down. And I'm going to increase the sediment density. These are very aggressive settings. You don't normally need them to be like this, but in this case, it's kind of working well. And then let's, oh, what the heck? Let's add one more mixer, or sorry, one more sat map so I can use the mixer. I want a little bit of a reddish tone in there, just a little bit. So, well, that's not bad. And this is this already has color erosion. So what I can do is I can have that become the base for the mixer, and have this be on top. I'll just add layer 1 and change it so it's kind of like this. A little bit of fall off, a little bit of warping, so it doesn't look too uniform. Yeah, it feels more natural here. Let me see how far I can push the warp and the warp size, because sometimes with these larger warp size, you'll get this wave created. And so with this shape, it's going uneven on multiple axes. And that looks much, much cooler than just something that's flat. And so with this in place, what I can do is add another color erosion to this. Do the same thing again that I did with the previous settings. You can see I have some of that red seeping down. When you go close, you can see it's a very usable texture. I think the final thing left is the little cherry on top. I'm going to add a weathering node. So weathering, it's still in beta, so it should be finished pretty soon. But what it does is it adds little weathering to the edges found in all kinds of terrains. So this one, well, I'm going to reduce the creep. And so here you can see it's accentuating all the crevices. And so I can reduce the dirt, increase it a bit, increase the scale of the weathering, that. And heck, if I was being gluttonous, let me just add one more color erosion to that. And this really, this is insane. But hey, it still looks good. That's how cool this node is. So, okay, no, that's too much. I'm going to reduce all of this. In fact, I'm going to reduce the transport distance a bit. So anyways, but here's our finished terrain. And if I go back to where we were with the actual shape, you can see just how detailed this is. It's actually great for creating different kind of looks. Now, so the sandstone node is actually what's known as a surface node. So if you look at the new toolbox here, you'll see there are primitives. We have all these. We have, landscapes of different types. And we have lots of modifications. And we have surfaces. And the job of surfaces is to create a superficial identity for your terrain without actually changing or altering the volume of it. So you don't lose your heights, not much really. So for example, I could go to this last bit here, drag it out, add craggy. It'll turn my entire landscape into a craggy, rocky thing. In fact, it's part of the, as you can see from the icon, it's part of our rocky family of nodes. So, oops. Oh, this is what happens when you work with a beta. There you go. It added this. Now, obviously, you would look at this and go like, hey, that's not useful at all. But it is when you do it with masking. So again, I'm going to go mask this by height. I promise I'll stop using this. It's become an addiction. But hey, you use it and tell me how much fun it is and why you can't stop using it either. So once you use it, I'm sure you won't be able to. Anyways, okay, so I did this. That's like a surface node. I'm not going to use it. It's not part of what I was thinking for this train, but it gives you an idea. I'm going to delete that. So there are many of those nodes. And then we also have, oh yeah, let me show you one more thing. So there's a new node called transpose. And what it does is it can actually transplant or transpose details from one terrain to another. So I'm going to create a ridge. So you can see this has a distinct shape of its own. And then I'm going to create a slump. And the slump is softer. This is like more sharp lines and everything. In the slump, it's like taller. It has smooth slopes and so on. I'm going to take this ridge. I'm going to add sandstone to this. So you can get like that, yeah, that shape going. I'm going to give it 4 passes just like we did before with the other one. I do like how it ends up with these slightly staggered shapes. That's really like what happens with sandstone, also with limestone. So it's pretty cool. Anyways, with this and this, maybe this should be taller. So I'm going to show you one more trick we have. It's the height remap down here. So you can just increase the height of whatever you want. Or compress it down like a clamp. And it's going to apply the sandstone again. So there, oh yeah, there we go. This time it's a bit more distinctive and it's not that flattened. However, this is the look that I want on this. And sometimes it can be difficult to wrangle a specific shape. Like for example, let's say I have erosion on top of this. And my erosion, instead of creating sediment like last time, it's actually created lots of down cutting. And I want to apply this there. And it's a bit difficult if I just do it directly. Or I don't know how, for example. Well, all I have to do is just go create a transpose node and give it a reference. So I'm going to give it our sandstone as the reference. Move these down here so they make sense. And so here you can see it took this shape and transposed everything from here. Even though this has completely different volumetric profile, it's able to understand what these shapes do and how they spread across that surface, and then it can do it here. Now let's imagine that I got a note from my supervisor and they're saying, okay, this is great, but you know, we just need a whole different kind of shape. So I can just go here, change it to this, go, and the same things apply. Or I can go and do this, maybe something, this in mode B, different scale. Oop, that something went wrong there. Okay, there, like that. And it's now applied to this. So no matter what kind of shape you're working with, you can just transpose one thing on top of another. And not just this, like let's say I just create a radial gradient, and I'm just gonna have that as the main input. It's able to give it that same kind of surface texture. So this is actually very useful because you can bring in shapes from anywhere, whether you're painting them or, like for example, someone, let's say you're working terrain design, someone in level design using Unreal Engine, they just went in and they used the built-in stuff to create like this generalized, not so realistic terrain, just so they can get level design going and quest design going and whatnot. Then they send you that and say, hey, this is the kind of terrain we want, make it look great, but don't change anything, because we like where we put stuff, and we don't like, you can't move where the village is. You can, well, in those situations you can take a map like that and then alter it. Or for example, if you're not comfortable with procedural shapes for getting that exact overall shape you want, you feel like, hey, I'm going to go into ZBrush, I'm going to just like quickly knock out this overall shape. Well, great, you can then export that as a height map, and then you can just bring that in and apply something like, you know, for lack of a better word, a recipe that's created elsewhere, and then just apply it here. And so that's actually one of our big improvements in workflow for terrain design, is like separating the concerns between what the overall shape should be and where things should go, and then what each individual portion should look like. So with that, you can have different artists work on different things and then merge it together or whatnot. The bottom line being, it's a flexible new workflow based on what we have been told from studios over the last 5 years, well, 5+ years. You know, listening to where it's difficult when you do terrain design, and so this is supposed to make it a lot easier. And with that, thank you so much for joining me for this quick little video. As we get closer to the final release, we'll be releasing lots more videos and going into individual features and drilling down and doing a lot more. Trust me, what I've shown you today is really just the tip of the iceberg. We have so much more to show you, and most of all, we hope it'll make your life easier when you're working with terrains. You can get things done faster and maybe even have a little bit of fun while you're doing it. So thanks again, and we'll see you soon.